Okay, so this is gonna be a demonstration for the practice assignment for doing the typography design for your vector portraits. So, what you're gonna do first is you're gonna go on Classroom, and I actually didn't upload this classwork assignment yet, but you'll click on this classwork assignment, and there's gonna be a Photoshop file I'm gonna have you download. So this is practice photography PSD or typography PSD file I'm gonna have you download and use. Okay, but this is gonna be kind of like a template to just kind of like practice, experiment, play with the using the Photoshop. So I'm actually gonna split these videos up into a couple different parts because it's gonna be a couple of different things I want you to do for the design part. This part of the video will focus on the changing the text, manipulating the words. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So when you open up the document, though, you'll have the portrait of somebody here, and then you'll have a couple of different keywords, and then you'll have your body of text. So I did tell you guys to make sketches of, the important keywords that dealt with your social issue, and then thought about a place to put your body of text. And this paragraph would more than likely be the paragraph that you guys wrote about your social issue, as having this nice contrast to these larger words and the smaller text is kind of like interesting for the viewer to look at, and it creates some interesting design it's using the asymmetrical balance. So now in order to like move the words around, it's pretty easy. You're just going to go to the layers panel, and you're just going to click on these words, and when you click on the word and you click on this move tool up here, this will allow you to move each of those things separately. Now, some of you may have this part checked where it says auto select on the move tool. If you have the auto select checked, basically any of those letters that you click is going to select those specific words. I don't really suggest using this because if there are some cases where the letters are overlapping one another, it's kind of hard to click on the letter that you want to move. So, my suggestion is, just click on the, click off of the auto select. In some cases this might work out fine, but in the case of we're just starting off, you don't really want to use it now. So, this is just to move the letters around. Okay, now a couple different ways you can change the letters is you can double click on the word, and if you really wanted to, you can actually change these words. You could change this to something else, but we're going to keep all the words the same, okay, just because I don't want you guys to be, super invested on, the words that you want to use, and then, what you want to type in the paragraph. This is just like strictly just like practice using the program. So that's kind of why I made this Photoshop template for you guys to, just mess around with for your practice today. But what I want you to do with the words, though, is you're going to do a couple different things. And if we refer back to the assignment, I do want to go back there. For each of those given words, you're going to have to change the size, font, color, position, and overlay if you want it. That's optional. So I'm going to show you all those different things. So pretty easy. Just going to double click it. And if you look at the very top, this is where you can actually change your type. So you can, highlight the different types, change it to the way that you want it. You can also change the size of the font here. Now the thing is that when you change it here, though, it only goes up to 72 points, but you can also make it larger than that if you just put in a number. And so that's one way of doing it. Another way you can change the size too is if you hold Command and press T as in turtle, that'll allow you to resize it. But actually we have to click off of the selection. So click off the selection, have this, just when I say selection, I mean this is like highlight. This is like selected where you can change the words. I'll let me show you one other thing too. If you want to change the colors, you can click on this, and this will allow you to change those colors. But just for the time being, though, keep it black and white because we're going to actually use a gradient map to actually change this color. So maybe I might want to use a gray for this color here. Oops. So double click it. Actually, it might be easier if you go to Windows and Color. windows and swatches. Yes, windows and swatches. Very similar to like the swatches in Illustrator. You can actually just click on these to get some color. So I'm actually doing like a gray for this one. So we have this gray here, and now this is selected normally, not with the type. So if you press Command T as in turtle, that's going to allow you to transform the words. So you can hold the make sure to hold the Shift key, but you can make the words bigger, smaller. If you really want to, you can flip it too. If you go to Edit, Transform over here, you can flip it horizontally. I'm doing Command Z to undo. You can flip it vertically. So there's a lot of different ways you can manipulate the type. You can also rotate it too, depending on like what you want to do. I'm actually just gonna keep it like this, and I might actually how the words overlap his face a little bit. So that's a couple of ways you can manipulate the type. Now, if you want the type to go behind the person, we're going to have to erase parts of the words in order to do that. Now, the proper way of erasing the words is, you want to use the layers, layer mask, and reveal all. If you have me in photography, you may have used this command before, but the only thing I don't really want to see though is I don't want you guys to use this eraser tool and rasterize the image and then just erase the words. Okay, the only reason why you don't want to do it this way is because if you, let's just say, end up messing up and you erase too much of it, like you can't really do nothing about it. I mean, obviously you can go to Windows and History. This is a way of like undoing mistakes if you messed up on it. But if you mess up on it several times, though, eventually you're gonna run out of how many times you can undo. So my suggestion though is, we're actually gonna go back a few steps and do keep this history panel open. It's nice to have that open to undo your mistakes. So I just click on like the last thing that I did. I'm just gonna continue back on there, but I'm back on where it says the type tool, and yeah, I guess I'm manipulating my type. I go to layers, layer mask, reveal all. Now creating that layer mask on your layers panel, this is a nice destructive way of, or it's a nice way of I want to say it's like a nice destructive way of not messing up your picture. So now the way it works though is when you color it black, I'm actually changing this opacity to 200. Maybe at 30 because of my photography classes. When you color it black though, it's going to erase the picture. Also make sure you use a hard edge brush too, because we have to like erase very close to the edge. But the black will erase it. All right, so black's going to erase. And if you wanted to bring it back, you can use the white. So the white will bring it back. So usually it's going to be black and white, just because it's set up by default. But the white will bring back the words. So you want the words to come back, you can just color white to bring it back. But we're actually going to put the words behind portraits. So you may have to zoom in pretty close to make sure everything is perfect. So do take your time with this. Don't rush it. So zoom in a little bit closer. Erase that. Go over it again with the white. And whoops, I'm using those bracket keys. So did we ever talk about the bracket keys? Not really. So these are the keys that I'm using to make it big and small. I'm just gonna make a new layer on here. It's this key here. Oops, let me do it up here. It's this one here and this one here. This is gonna make it smaller, and this one will make it bigger. It's right below the plus and the minus key. So this is a couple of hotkeys to keep in mind of. Let me change this back to black. I'm gonna make it like a black, and yeah, we're gonna use the white to bring it back a little bit. So that's how you would. Oops. Make sure you click on the correct layer too. I have to click on the layer mask, and then I can go back and fix that. Let's change the white. White will bring back the words. All right. Yeah, just make sure to take your time on that though. So that's how you're gonna like move words behind the portrait or in the front. So I'm gonna go over this again. So we want to resize the font, color, position, move, and rotate. Oh yeah, if you want to rotate it, you can click on the word. So I'm gonna click on the one that's a student here. Same thing before that. You do Command T. It's gonna resize it. You can also rotate it too. It's up to you how you want to do it, but you know, you just want to think about like a good place to put it for your design. So now you can do this option here. This one says overlay. So with overlay, if you click up here, you can actually change the effects of the pictures. Some of them they may not do anything, but others they may do something different. This one's not really showing up that well. So you know, let's just say I move that word over like on the portrait here. So if I put like student on this side here, you see like overlay is only going to show up on those gray areas. But if I were to change that to lighten, or try something different. Then again, I probably have to change the color. So it's like a dark color right now, but if I were to change that font to like a white, you know, I would get like some different effects to it. You know, it's like one of those things where you have to kind of like play around with it. You know, see what kind of effects you can get. So overlay, yeah, overlay is gonna create more of like a interesting faded out effect. So you know, you might want to change the colors and you know see what happens when you play around with it. You know, multiply will. That's not even showing up. So you really have to play around with it a little bit. I mean, there's like certain rules with it, but you know, I don't want to get super in depth with it. But you know, if you guys are in my photography class, you might know a little bit more about it than you know those that weren't in the other class before. I actually like using the overlay. So yeah, that's the overlay. What else? Okay, so that's the first part of the video with doing you know part one. And yeah, just let me know if you guys have any questions on it.